As far as I'm aware, we are there.
Great.
1, 2, yeah, cool.
Hello, everyone. It's a nice warm evening. Demonstrating. That's what he thinks about that. It's working good. So I thought I'd go with a summary-based still life this week. Not the last, well, not the last still life for a while. I can't really ever decide on what sentence should come out of my mouth. By the time I've thought of it, I've already started to argue inside my own head. It must be a nightmare to try and have a conversation. So yes, this might be the last still life for a while. Oh no, actually it won't, will it? Because there'll be other ones. But we're going to do some other things that aren't still lives. But there'll probably still be like still lives in between. So I'm glad I made that clear. I don't do well in the heat. I don't like it.
Now we're sorted. Amazing.
Yeah. This is all part and parcel. I might even go for a bigger canvas than this. So I'm still mucking about a little bit. And it's little things like, what do I do with the arm of those glasses? I think maybe they need to go out again. Like that. That's meaningful. Now it's a sort of, it's kind of open now. So it's like ready to be seen and to embrace new experiences. That, less so. It's a bit cagey now. Some cagey sunglasses.
Was it similar to sort of speaking to somebody with their arms crossed or if they've got their arms open?
Exactly, yeah. So so the glasses have got their, going back to last week with the watch and the smiling face.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It is all there. I probably, yes, I wasn't quite prepared to make my watch smiling last week. I did put in the YouTube description that the watch is not smiling. So people who haven't watched the video, let's face it, who would? I'm going to have no idea what that means. So I'm going to become ever more cryptic. It's little spaces. I need that little space there. So for me, that's from where I am, it's a space between the hat. Yeah. That's better. Yeah, I like that. Sunglasses slightly apart. Back a little bit. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that arrangement. The shadows are doing an awful lot of the work. I might go portrait on this again, actually. In fact, I think I will.
Do you have your phone on you just so that like the viewers can have a view of actually what you're looking at?
You are.
Might be worth doing that again just after the break in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, we can have another look.
In the meantime,
You need to plug that in. Yeah.
I need to get some.
One moment, please.
Um, hmm. Think about this. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. I'm going to go for the bigger size.
There we go. Let's bug the camera view up now.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, ta-da!
It's fine.
I worry too much, don't I?
No. If anything, I think you need to worry more. Like I was saying, but the relentless positivity and all that kind of thing. It's got to stop. Okay. This is going to be a simple one, drawing wise. In fact, might even. I don't want to use a raw umber for the underneath of this. There's this. There's this sort of orange theme. It's kind of in the hat, it's kind of in the glasses, it's kind of in the thing. So raw umber would work, but I'm going to put a load of red in it. And I'm going to get a bit of. You finished with the bag, please. Busy with the bag. Can't really see him. Right, bit of Indian yellow. Nice transparent yellow.
So why do you choose particular colours to go underneath first?
I want covered it already. I want what would I call it? An accent, if you like, not exactly a complementary colour, although in this instance it kind of is. Oh God, I'm really having trouble speaking today. I want anything that comes through, any broken marks, to have a particular identity. And in this case, it's simple as it being a warm colour. I want it to be a sort of an orangey colour. And that's what will happen here. The colours I would make an orange with are typically cadmium yellow, cadmium red. But they're both opaque colours, and I want something with a bit of transparency because I want to use it like a dye to stain the surface with some tonal values, which means using as little paint as possible, which means I'll thin it right down. But it will still give this oranginess to the surface, which will create a sense of heat just generally over the whole thing, which we'll see right now. Allow me to demonstrate. That's sort of why I'm here, isn't it? So we've got.
That's a lovely colour.
It is, and it's very transparent. You can see the thinness of it. So that's yeah, and I can just sort of chuck this on because I am going to cover it up afterwards. First of all, a bit of measuring, but I want my sun cream, sunblock, whatever, to be there. That is a good angle for the glasses, which is going to leave me with, that's going to be the top of the thing. It's going to sort of put the hat here, put the glasses around there, so I lay have some orange in. Yeah, just sort of chuck some shapes in, really. Oh, it doesn't work at all, does it? I'm going to have way too much hat in that way. Too much hat. I'm going to measure this. I'm going from the dimple in the hat to the outside of the bottle. I'm going to turn that around. And that will give me from the top of the bottle to the bottom of the shadow of the sunglasses. So if I make that square from here, on the bottom of the shadow of the sunglasses here. That would put the dimple of the hat over here somewhere. Probably about there. Maybe that's where the stripe would go, something like that. So really just chucking some shapes around at the moment. It's going to work with the shadows as well. Okay, tell you what I might do is I might chuck a few lights in just to sort of try to stay up to date with the sort of shapes I'm making.
So Josie, she's back. Hello to both of us. Like I mentioned, woohoo! Hi James and Graham. ... So why not do a stain all over the board first?
Well, that's a good point. Sometimes I would, and I'd lift it to make the lights. But I'm kind of playing with the areas because there's nothing at stake here. So I'm playing with where this goes. And I might look at this and go, that's rubbish. I hate it. I want to change it all. And then I could just move it all around. So once you have got this sort of very thinned paint on the surface, it would be an effort to clean it all off and dry it all off again, which means anything you put on. So there is a point. If I keep going here, saying, oh, I want to make that darker, and then I want to make it darker again. And there's a point where it's really hard to make it darker. And then after a while, and then you'd come back to it and, you know, clean off that brush and come back and go, oh, I'll make a mark here. And it's making it lighter now. So yeah, I could do, and I might a little bit for just sort of some of the negative spaces around here. That's going to be darker there. That's the point, right? Well, it's about the same height as the bottom.
Thumbs up. Looks like you answered the question sufficiently.
Hey.
You can put words together.
Yeah, sometimes.
And do the sentence thing.
I did the thing with the sentence and the
Yeah,
word.
the thing the sentence does.
Yeah.
That is a really lovely colour, though. I really like it.
Well, it's hot, isn't it? So, yes, colour temperature, interesting subject all of its own. I am seriously considering doing a course on colour. Teaching a course on colour, I should say.
I'd go on one if I was you, James.
I could do with doing one. Yeah, I know, really good. I think we all could. I think it doesn't matter who you are. There's just so many things, so many different ways of thinking about it, and you know, so many different discoveries. But as a sort of a launch pad for people who want to, what do you call it? Just go down that rabbit hole, because it's a fascinating thing. I think my bottle's growing.
So I just spotted as well. That was clever when you were explaining to Josie regarding the staining all over the board. You've done that black whole part as the indentation of the hat, haven't you?
Also,
The darker part that you'd created at the top there that you were explaining to Josie about.
Oh,
the
yeah.
indentation of the hat.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks.
Took a while. Sorry. I'll catch up in a minute.
That's all right. Yeah, so now that's in. I mean, there's other little. So it's going to be down here. We're going to cut in a bit and move stuff around. Yeah, so it's a nice little arrow shape coming in here, which I quite like. Pictures in. So I'm not, I'm not drawing very well today, but I'm not letting that worry me because it'll get there in the end. An outline. Finding my way into that. Okay, now we were talking about the why not cover the whole board with orange. You absolutely could do that as an imprimatur, let it dry. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go back, same kind of thing. I'm just going to sort of chuck in a load of dark stuff where I feel like it needs to go, and then I'll pull some lights out of it again afterwards. So what I'm thinking about now is how to get these sunglasses to agree with this bottle. Actually, it's partly because that bottle goes around the corner. So you can affect a few lines and things here. Big shadow from that goes up too high from the hat. Again, it's quite easy to sort of push and pull with it. I might sort of dip in. If I start with the bottle, I might just build the rest of the picture out from there. This is going to come in a bit. Right. So last bit, and I'll start to get this drawing pin down. There's a sort of a shape there. Sort of a shape here. Dipping in. Just going to go there. This is going to have a nice bit of light there. Cool. And now that's working. Get rid of some of that square while it's putting me off. That's the brim of the hat. That's going to come down. It's going to be even higher than that. Go across. Yeah, so especially for the darks, these warm colours are really going to help. So you can see there, I'm going to like put a bit of extra dark in. It's just taking it off. So at that point, probably can relax a little bit. Yeah, lighten this a little.
So after the show that finished last week,
Oh yeah,
how was it?
that was good. Very good.
Excellent. That's that bit done.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
That's all right. So yeah, what was the kind of notable parts from it?
It's always interesting to see what people relate to, what they get something from, and yeah, I think that tells you something about the general mood in the world. Actually, it's not really about my work so much as it's the kind of thing that's getting people's attention. I think people go to a gallery because they're looking for something to engage them in some way, give them an experience, but that experience kind of comes from within. So really, you just that gallery is giving you a launch point, and I think it's a privilege if you can make work that does that for people. So yeah, there's definitely a sense of, how do I put it? I think it's partly a post-pandemic thing. I think it's partly maybe that whole sort of polarizing of politics, but I think people are looking for ways to sort of join in with the world, and maybe in a way that's sort of more meaningful to them. And so anything that sort of makes you think seems to be very welcome. I think people have, so I definitely got a sense that people were looking for sort of conversation starters, really. Yeah, that's my little insight, such as it is.
And you're intrigued by the conversation that did start?
Well, yeah. I suppose there's this thing of, there's always a sort of pressure you feel based on, I can tell myself that I ignore it, but how much can you really? A pressure to do certain things that I guess people will approve of, the sort of things that people seem to like. You want to make people happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit like, if you were in a band and you'd had a few hits and you went along and sold loads of tickets to a gig and then turned up and went, I'm not doing any of the hits, it's all the new stuff. You can understand why someone might do that, but you could also understand why people would go, no, that's what I came here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And that thing of, you want to put a smile on people's faces a bit, but actually what does that is quite a different thing to what you expect. You do a crowd pleaser, it just gets ignored. You do something that's genuinely interesting to you, and that kind of starts people off. Okay, I've got warm light here, so I'm going to make up a mixing white with a bit of titanium buff. Some soft yellow colour, some cadmium yellow, put a little dab of cadmium red in that, and the slightest dab. It's dangerous, you can easily do too much of this.
So I found kind of interesting by doing like coming up and working with you is the amount that I'm now looking at colour in everyday life.
Right.
It's quite interesting how you can sort of look at something which is black and it's not black. It's got tones of blue or green or yellow. And sort of, I guess, noticing the world more, I guess.
Oh, well, that's
really nice.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's an interesting one. There is this sort of, you know, every now and again someone will go, "Oh, how often do you get to paint? You know, do you paint every day?" And you go, if I was on a bus all day, I'd be painting in my head. I'd be doing the same thing I'm doing when I'm painting. I'd be sort of looking at the world in a similar way.
That's interesting.
So in a sense, that's always getting practiced, and anybody can do that. You know, you can just engage with the world in that way. So one of the things I quite like about teaching is frequently people will say the world looks different on the way home from a class than it does on the way there, and I think that's a lovely expression. But that's what you hope. You know, hope to be able to provide that. Okay. Now this is going to be interesting. So I'm putting a bit of red in there. Actually, I can just use a little bit of this. Just cleaning up my whites. Okay. Yeah, so I've got to leave quite a lot of room. There's this little specular highlight along the edge of the bottle there. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave that tonal jump. There's my little splash of white. Wanted hen. So this has got to get that amount darker. Got this blue here from last week. I'll just dilute that. There you are. Now I feel like I'm getting to the colour. The front of the bottle. When it goes around the corner, oh, that's really interesting. The mixture of violets and greens in the shadows, because it's got this whole sort of rippled edge for grip. That's the who said ombre solaire never did anything for you. Someone went, you know what? People would really appreciate not just dropping these plastic bottles every time they get any sun cream on their hands. Okay, that's a bit of my shadow colour. Like I said, if I build it out from the bottle first, then I can work my way into the other things from there. I'm going to want some background colour too. But before I do that, hang on, maybe I should do that first. No, two things. Blue out. Ultramarine blue.
Sounds a little bit like Matt Berry then. Ultramarine blue.
Yes, I could easily fall into that voice without doing any impersonation of anyone. I think years of the whole carpet salesman thing. DFS sale of just for men or anything. It's just that ubiquitous voice, and it was a weird exaggeration of the kind of Radio 4 continuity now, so, which is what I actually sound like, because that's how I learned to speak, I think. Brian Perkins in the shipping forecast. That spared me having an Essex accent. Now you never know.
A bit of Sussex, Dorset kicking off in there.
I don't think I've been. I'd have to spend another couple of lifetimes here to pick that up. It's a hard accent to do, actually.
What, Dorset?
Yeah, because it's got subtleties to it, you know. Just like any accent, and without them, it's much more clearly fake. Whereas anyone can sort of sound a bit cockney, a bit estuary. Yeah. Yeah, so you can do the shortcut one. The shortcut West Country accent makes you either sound like a pirate or like one of the villagers in a vampire film who tell you not to go up to the castle.
Oh yeah, who eventually turns up with people.
And it's just generic yokel sort of voice, and it will go between West Country and Norfolk, and a little bit sort of
So everybody feels included.
a little bit West Midlands in places, and yeah. Okay. Right, this is interesting. I'm going to be doing these mixes as I go along. That's my purpley colour. I'm going to want my greeny colour, and that's going to be in the background as well.
Oh, we have a visitor.
Oh,
Excuse me a second, I shall be right back.
right. Oh, that's a hell of a green. It's going to need a bit of oil in it. It's a bit dense. Very intense. Oh, this is a taste of things to come. It's all going to get a bit more social here. Going forwards. Oh,
Excellent. I should have an extra body today.
she's hiding.
She's just get a wider bottle in there.
Ah, I think there's one in here.
Okay.
Right, there I was like, oh yeah, this green. So it's going to need a whole chunk of white and some of this yellow to get the yeah, to get the light colour. That's still not enough, is it? All right. That's it. Yellow. You said you had some good ideas.
Yeah, with what we were discussing in the shop.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, there's no harm in advertising it, is there?
not? Okay.
Well, no, I mean, well, it's a tricky one. Okay, so
We're talking.
no one knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking the interval.
I would ask though, do you believe in keeping things to yourself until you know you're going to be able to do it?
Well, there's two sides to that.
Would you
actually,
talk
isn't
about
there?
your
Because-
plans with people?
Well, there's two sides, because if you talk about it, then you become accountable. So you have to do it.
Well, you don't though, do you?
Well, you get cajoled into doing it.
Right. Okay.
Whereas if you keep them to yourself, then nobody will know that there's an idea that's potentially brewing, of which you then could not do, and nobody would be any the wiser.
Yes. But isn't that just leaving the door open for failure?
Well, exactly.
I prefer to just drop myself in it and then have everyone watch me fail. Let's see if anyone comes to help. They don't, by the way.
Oh, can it? Yep. Yeah, there's a violin playing in the background somewhere. Can you hear it?
No. Oh, wakey.
No, what's what? We're still on the palette, aren't we?
We are still on the palette. Okay, I need to get a whole load more yellow mixed. So we're going to have a nice quantity of paint here. It's going to be very, very present, but it's going to give the warm colours their warmth. Need some more of this green even. I'll go to the lumpy bits.
It's the yellow you're going to be using for warmth, even though we've got like orange that's already on the canvas.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sorry, I'm pretending I was listening to you. But you were talking?
Yeah, well, you've got orange already on the canvas, so you're going to continue to use a yellow to try and warm things up. Is that like a traditional colour for warming stuff up?
No, it's the colour of the light. I'm using a yellowy light.
Okay.
The yellowy light is going to give you complementary colours in the shadows, just by association, because that's how the eye works. Because they're really there. So there's going to be some violets in the shadows, which is why I was just sticking into this shadow colour here.
Yep.
Probably get some more yellows than that, but I can get them in later. And then I'm going to need some more of this yellowy colour because it is going to get into the other. So I'll be doing brush mixes as I go along. I don't think I made enough of that. But maybe. So what I'm missing is sort of a darker browny colour with the hat and the orange, which is not yet there, but I may well visit the special drawer and I think I have the last 5 millilitres of chrome orange on the planet, so I only get tiny amounts out for special occasions when you need an orange.
Why is there no more of that on the planet?
So they stopped making it because it's incredibly poisonous.
Ah, right.
Which is why, and I often say this to people listening, that it's great to get into painting, it's great to have some fun with it, but you must remember, don't eat the paint. It's very important you don't eat the paint.
Notice.
So just remember what I told you.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome to the studio. Okay. Oh, you have to clear a space. But yeah, you know the rules. Just remain silent at all times, and if you are to talk to me, you refer to me as Maestro. Okay.
We got.
I might manage that. Thanks. Well, there you are. It's quite a social event, huh?
You're not in. You're fine.
Put some red. I'm making some hat colour now. Using the green on the knife to neutralise it so it's not too strong. And then, oh, what's what I need? Bit of a deeper yellow.
Actually, you're having a visitor. That kind of leads us on to what we'd quite like to do going forwards, doesn't it?
Yeah. I want to. Well, I'm going to do more portraits. We can say that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who they're going to be of, but hopefully we can find some interesting people. And And Graham fancies himself as a
Oh no,
part-time
no.
budget Michael Parker. For no. Yeah, you do. You love it. You love the idea.
I love it. I wouldn't class myself as a part-time or a potential Parkinson person, but I like finding out about people.
Well, Graham has a few qualities which are really useful. Is that he's genuinely interested in people and seems to find a way to like almost everyone, which I frankly find suspicious. But there you go. Oh, look at this. Thank you very much.
Lovely. You start. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Well, I just think it's quite an interesting concept in that you find out about people through painting them and looking at them.
Yeah.
I find out about people through talking with them.
Which is less weird, I grant you. There's less staring involved, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would spend 20 minutes mixing paint. So
if you'd like to sit for a picture and think you have lots of interesting things to tell people, do get in touch and we'll tell you why you're not important. That'd be nice. See, that's why I need Graham. I need someone to be nice. No, I'm very fortunate to have friends who know to never ever take me seriously. So, nor should anybody else. I cry
myself to sleep at night. Every Monday.
That's weirdly satisfying. Right, okay, I think I've got some colours now. I'm going to find out what I'm missing as I go along, but this will do for a starter.
Back to the main scene then.
Yeah, and let's just chuck some paint on. I'm going to try and use a slightly bigger brush size. Colours and right. Let's go. I'm going to start with some background colours. So let's piece together a few of these. A little bit thin, it's just to make it go a bit dead, a bit flat. I'll work it out later because I'll probably want to get other colours into here as I go along. Oh, that's the wrong shape already. What am I doing? That's utterly the wrong colour too.
Great start. Love it.
Shut up.
It's too big for the spatula as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's just going to get a lot duller. It means putting more red in it. Not enough red in the green, that was the problem.
How do you choose the first point of where you're actually going to put a bold amount of colour onto the painting?
Sometimes it just doesn't matter that much. Sometimes it's about having a shape that you can build everything else around. So in this instance, this is going to be okay. I'm going to brighten this up at the front. So I was saying before, I'm going to work into this colour afterwards, and which I will. There's particular sort of shapes that go on, and I can piece those shapes together and make sense of what happens and where. So here, that that line there, where this comes out to meet it, and how those two shapes relate together are going to be quite important in and so it allows me to check my drawings as I'm going along, which means I don't have to spend hours and hours measuring and sort of being super careful at the beginning. I'm probably still a bit too careful with it. I want to just relax about it a bit more, but there you go. So I'm lining up this edge with here because that's where that shape starts, and I can see those shapes in relationship. So this should be down here somewhere, and that seems to make sense to kind of go in there. And then maybe this shadow moves, or whatever it might be. In fact, it does. That comes across a bit. Okay. Then we get to sort of some fiddly details up here. But maybe that's okay. I'll put that in.
There a lot of stuff that you've said in the past is you talk about like the direction that you want the viewer's eyes to go in.
Yeah.
So with this one, where are you looking to kind of direct people?
Well, we've got this direction of shadow, so it's suggesting this light coming from the right, which is a slightly unconventional lighting direction. Usually people light from the left because that's how we read and that's how we expect a still life to work. Historically, that's happened a lot. I'm also making it a bit up here.
Does that mean then that, sorry to interrupt, but so in, say, Middle Eastern countries where the writing is, or when you read, it's from right to left, does that mean that it would then be reversed?
I think that's
for painted
Hebrew.
through?
Is Arabic right to left?
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's the direction. There's where your eye naturally goes to start.
Okay.
And so maybe, well, the thing is that, I mean, the Arabic doesn't have an awful lot of figurative art.
Yeah, fair.
And to be fair, there isn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there isn't a lot of visual art wasn't used in the same way as it was, say, by the Catholic Church and the Western Christian traditions to sort of tell the story on the walls of the church to an illiterate congregation. So in the sense,
yeah, so I cut you off in the middle of when you were describing where you're directing people with this one.
yeah. So we can see these dynamic lines. We've got this pinch point here, and this is quite important. And this is the wrong colour, but it's the right wrong colour. Okay.
Excellent.
And this space here is going to define an awful lot. It's going to give us the top of the glasses. Okay, it's going to give us a shape and the wobble of the bottle. It's going to give us the edge of the hat. It's going to give us so much of what we need to make sense of this image.
So that was at the point earlier where you said, oh, should the hat go behind the bottle? And you went, no, of course it shouldn't. We need that negative space.
Yeah, I can't remember that now, but I'll take your word for it. Okay, right. So there's this bluish quality in these shadows, which I'm using a bit of thinners here, so the paint going on very flat, very thin. And ooh, especially around the edges here, it's going to get more orange in the middle. So and this blue is the true complement to the orange. This is the actual opposite colour, not the green. At least, I don't know, to my eye it is. It sort of feels fundamentally different. But it's not going to go all over. So when it goes under here, it definitely goes greener. So the shadow under here. And I'm going to exaggerate the colours of these shadows as well. Look at that. That was just naughty. Shouldn't have been allowed to. and that'll sort of join up. So put a few of those greens in here, and on the inside of that. What's that? It is easy. I think anything's easy if you practice it long enough.
It's nice.
Well, thank you, is what I should say. Okay. So that seems to be important that they meet up there. I'll put a bit of that behind that. But yeah, you won't really look at any of those things like that green. It'll just work on you, if that makes sense. The background colour is the next one. So I've got this blue up here. Again, way too blue. Mix this. Brush mix it and see what this does. See, that's probably still a bit too blue. I think I'm going to have to neutralise that a little bit. It's a little bit much. Still brush mixing it. I think once I've found which colour it is, I'll leave that little pool of colour. Yeah, that's more like it. And then I can mix some more of it. What's this doing? How do of time?
We are 7:53.
Oh.
5 minutes or so to break, and if you're there. Or we could do an early one, depending on.
Alright, good. I've been taking a while to get going in recent weeks, rather than being sort of super ready and just launching myself out there. No. Basically, I have to get this brush going. Right.
So why are you having to get a new brush then?
Because I've run out of big brushes that are going to behave the way I want them to.
Okay.
Um,
How long does a brush generally last for? So the brush you've got in your hand at the moment.
Yeah, this one.
In your left hand, yeah. How long would that last as a brush that you can use and continue to use?
I don't know. I mean, I should know. I witness it. They go through. What I can tell you is that they go through various sort of iterations of usefulness. So, to begin with, you'll get this really nice, crisp square mark like that. Okay, I'm using this quite dry, just to sort of get some of that sort of strawness of the hat. Yeah, a few bits there. But yeah, over time, though I do try and avoid it, the paint gets down to the ferrule, which is the metal bit, and it will start to gum the brush up. You'll get paint in there that will never quite come out. And over time, it will gum up, but at the same time, it will also wear down. So you'll end up with. I never buy filberts because after a while, a brush will filbert itself. You get these rounded corners because the sharp points disappear off, and at the same time it starts to gum up. So this is still quite a nice flexible brush, still very useful.
What's it called when it rounds up?
A filbert.
Okay. And
It's
You
to
have
do
a-
with the name for almond, because it's almond shaped.
but do you have your own unique kind of? Did you say filament?
Filbert.
Filbert. So would another painter, because they paint in a slightly different manner, have a different filbert to their brush?
Oh well, different brushes will wear in different ways, I guess. But no, I've never really thought about that too much. But yeah, in terms of how long the brush lasts.
Does it matter quality?
Yeah, that's part of it. Well, this is the thing. Sometimes the more expensive brushes wear out quicker, which isn't to say they're not worth it. Rosemary and Co, for example, make lovely brushes. They're comparatively quite expensive, but they're worth every penny. I have some, but they do actually wear down quicker than other brushes. Because if you have like really hard to break bristles, got there in the end, didn't I? Then they probably won't behave quite the way you want them to. They might not have that flexibility, so you can get some brushes which are what do you call it? Sort of really dense. So another thing is the width of the ferrule. So I quite like these because it's got a fairly thin ferrule there. If that's too thick, you just got this giant bundle of hair. It won't bend properly, and it won't behave itself, and it doesn't do what you want. So the thinner they get, the more control you have when they're new, but they also wear down faster. All right, this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to get a bit of that green and put it into a bit of this brown. I was saying this is going to be a lot of brush mixes going on. That's some of that shadow colour there. Is it the right amount lighter? Surroundings, possibly.
Is there a particular way that you should store your brushes?
Oh, probably.
You don't bother.
I've never really thought about it that much. I know there's all this advice about how to clean brushes and how to do this, that, and the other. Some people go, "Oh, you wash them with detergent and soap every time you've used them," and I've tried that, and it's a load of bother. They gum up. The detergent and soap will never get all the paint out properly. They go, "Oh, don't use white spirit because that kills brushes." Well, in my opinion, not getting the paint out kills brushes. So it's sort of inevitable. So what I tend to do is to just try and... It's time. If you only use your brushes once a month, they probably won't last much longer than if you use them every day. And mine wear out. They lose their... they wear down before they become unusable. It's not like all the bristles are falling out and stuff. They're absolutely fine. There you go, a few darks there. Let's pop that on, something like that. A few blues in. What's this doing? Doesn't know. Okay. I'm getting having a bit of fun with it now. Now, I think it's probably nearly time for a break.
Yeah, we've just hit the 8 o'clock mark, so
Yeah. So hopefully that's an image coming out now. Is that doing it? I think that's doing it. Yeah, something like that. Oh, let's have a little look. Yeah, it's turning up, isn't it? And that red showing through is quite nice. Just
Mm.
a bit of feels like warm air.
Interesting how like a couple of lines for the glasses, just then a pair of glasses, amazing.
What do you think?
Brilliant. We will go for a couple of we'll do a time lapse and probably one of the exhibition that was on last week.
Yeah. Apologies for the flicker. very popular. Oh, hang on. Is that? Yeah, that's working.
We're back with you, Josie. Can you hear us?
Oh, you missed me babbling.
Well, how'd you manage that?
So I was just saying about the bottle. I'm going to have to focus on the bottle now. I've got the brushes with the other colours on it. I've got a couple of brushes here which are fine. So will be used. Oh, one of which I left out, and that's oh no, that's okay. Things come back to life. I left this one out, and I may have wrecked it. Yeah, it's gone slightly funny shape. I'll see if it behaves itself again. Right. So I'll start off with some of these sort of dark oranges for the side of the cap. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get the detail with this. Maybe avoiding some detail wouldn't be a bad idea. I do get a bit caught up with it. Yeah, that's the shoulder of the bottle over there. That one's going to come up a bit. So, well, that's a bit red. I'll go over to my violet colour over here. Now this isn't actual colour I'll be using, it's just a contributing colour. I'll take a bit of that yellow next to it. And this is a bit of guesswork really. Let's see if that does the thing I want it to do. Yeah, it's kind of there. Oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. So I've got this violet colour, I've got these reflecting greens. A bit of that red showing up through the gap as well, so keep that in. Again, it's a bit flat, maybe I want to get thicker paint on this, but until it's time. Yeah. Yeah, and then I'll get some of these greens in. Come underneath here. There. touch a bit there. I'm going to keep going with this, and it's going to mix as I go along. This is a tricky one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll do it. A bit there. Putting on that brush. So I want it to fade out, so I'll just trust myself. Top here.
Why would you make the choice to mix on the canvas rather than on the palette beforehand?
Because it's a very subtle change, and it gets less green as it goes up. And because it gets less green as it goes up, I can let it mix on the surface, and it will naturally take care of a very, very subtle change from one tone to another, which I think you can kind of see there. You can get a bit more green in that, actually, in places. Let's touch that in a bit. Yeah, gets higher. So I've got these little accent colours I've been pulling out. Again, this is going the other way. This is wearing off as it goes down. And I'll get back to that violet colour, which I'll mix a little bit more of. Put that in there. In fact, it gets a little bit darker just under that. There. Gets lighter again. Put this sort of shadow area around here. Slight groove on the bottle, which I'll put in roughly. Okay. I'll go to that light colour I mixed. Again, it's still mixing on the surface, so this is going to be a bit more too light. Okay, I think that'll be all right. That's not light enough there. It's going to get yellower as it goes down. So we'll pop a bit of that there. Go into this yellower light. I'm thinking too much about the edges now, but that edge does seem important. But there's a particular way that the bottle bows, which is sort of makes it feel like it's squeezy. I want you to be able to imagine it being a squeezy bottle and what it would be like to squeeze it. That's the nature of that bottle. Oh yeah, if it was a catch-up bottle, you'd want it to feel like it's made of heavy glass.
Yeah.
So this will be very, very familiar to parents, I think. Where they're like this, you just follow them around, slathering the stuff all over them. Okay, so I keep a bit of that. Got rid of it. Bit of that across there. There. Oh yeah. I've been too subtle here. You know. Let's get another brush on the go. This one looks like it's behaving itself, and it's already got green on it, which is good. Need a bit of yellow in that green. Ooh, it's a bit much. A bit black in it, just to calm it down. Right. It's the green over. Oh no, there's another bit. Garnier. Okay, so here's where the orange starts to turn up. Is this one I mixed? It's not as bright as it can go, so I can always do more orangeness. This crescent here. This particular brand is the 30 SPF Hydra 24, so it also protects you from mythical sea monsters, which is encouraging if you're going for a swim in the ocean and someone's released the Kraken or a many-headed snake in this instance. You know you're going to be okay. Can you come over?
I bet they didn't
laugh at my terrible jokes.
I bet they didn't think that when they were making it.
Huh?
It was just going to be sun cream to begin with. And
It's
then,
made in a laboratory.
Well.
Thinking, fine. Then they've considered every possibility. You could just slap some titanium dioxide into a bit of moisturizer, if you weren't taking care of these things. They've thought of everything. You can guarantee it. All right. Stripe at the bottom, which is good. Go here. I'd like to do that in one go, and that will do it. Oh, there's temptation to fiddle. Oh, I really want to fiddle. Let's put that little nice bit on. Okay, I've reimagined their graphic design for them.
I'll prepare the invoice.
But I think it's still a recognisable ombre solaire bouteille. See, that just looks pink now.
Mm.
Let's make some real orange, danger orange. Yes.
Wait. Tell.
Use it practice.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry about that.
You're touching things.
I was watching you.
Slow
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I would only ever get people to call me Maestro if it was, I was giving painting lessons to Gordon Ramsay. It affects that whole sort of military discipline thing with his kitchen, isn't it? And all they're doing is making a bit of dinner. Okay.
Nice watching you paint.
I imagine that is probably more fun. So a bit. Yeah. Well, the bottle's starting, so it's certainly turning up now. So now I think I can have a little play with it. Pop a bit of yellow in there. Yeah. Go back to the red. Put that back in. Okay, so a bit of the last bit of the red actually. Get a bit of the purple involved as well. So there's all these very subtle little colours starting to turn up here. Extra bit dark in there. A bit here. Oh, I've also made another decision about the top of this. Is that my blue? It is. I'll make some more of this blue. Don't need it for the background. Match the tone first, then chuck some of the green into it, and then dull it down by putting some red in until it calms down. Okay.
So, James, we've had the Sherborne Open Art Exhibition. We've had your exhibition. Is there anything else on the horizon? I missed out the Dorset Arts Weeks as well. But
Oh yeah, there was that too.
what else have we got?
A nice lie down, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be nice. No, I've got a few. Well, I've got a few possibilities next. So one thing I'd quite like to do. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get more of that blue over here. One thing I'd quite like to do is my music project, which I've been talking about for a while. Which, in a sense, I have kind of started in the sense that I've done a few residencies for music festivals and jazz clubs and the like. It's something I really like doing. It's something I really relate to. So that's something I'd like to sort of do an actual project I'd quite like to actually try and document the UK jazz scene to some degree. Maybe to start with the Southwest and move outwards. And I'd like to do that in a way that it can culminate in an exhibition. So the problem I have, and there's worse problems to have, but the problem is that if I do something decent, people buy them, which is delightful. But at the same time, I can never really quite get a body of work of all the decent stuff. People have said they'd be very willing to lend them back to me for an exhibition, but to pay for the exhibition, I've got to be able to sell them. And I think if I did that, they'd be furious. So, that's not an option. But yeah, no, it'd be nice to borrow a few back for display purposes.
How could they not be sold until the exhibition?
Oh, well, that's the thing. So what I'd need to do is to do some work where I hang on to it until the show, but then something else has got to pay its way.
That's chicken and egg scenario. Weird way.
It is, but with paintings.
Mm.
Does that do it? It does do it. Yeah, a bit dark right there. Cheeky. Shadow under the back end.
So what's that going to entail with the?
So yeah, so I'd have to actually sort of get organised. I have got some jazz clubs and stuff that would host me that already do, but I want to get in touch with some festivals and things like that. It might even be a good idea to sort of arrange some of my own events. So no one can tell me that I'm in the way. Because that's part of the deal, is that there will be a big easel in the middle of the room. And if you don't like it, shut up. No, I'd have a better attitude than that. Or would I? It's hard to tell. Yes, so this is sort of
The essence of what you want to do is turn up, paint jazz musicians whilst they're playing.
yes, exactly that. So I'd have to sort of I don't know if it's fundraising exactly so much as so I had a few thoughts. One of which was I could sell what you call credits, if you like. What's the word where, you know, someone gives you some money but they're going to get something in return later, like a pre-order almost, but just like a credit note sort of thing. It'd be tricky because if I'm going to do it in a proper gallery, these are welcome to the tricky bits of being an artist. Well, we're going to do it in a gallery. The gallery would want commission quite reasonably, which means if someone said, "Okay, I'll give you £500 and you know, we'll have that for painting," they can't pick a £500 painting because I'd have to stump up the other 250, which I'd already spent doing the work. So it would have to be up to 50% of the value of the painting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that way I could kind of pre-sell them, or, you know, people could. So if I know what kind of value the artwork's going to be, so that's another tricky one. You don't always know exactly what you're going to be charging. But what I could say is I will be doing a range of prints of all of them for, you know, for set prices, which, you know, are under my control, and people could pre-order those, and they could choose which one they wanted when the exhibition came around. Does that make sense? So it all gets rather involved and tricky. But yeah, so that's one future thing. I'd like to find a way to get that project going, which I, you know, think would be a lot of fun. What else? There were some other things. I was thinking of having a holiday.
Deborah Clark has just said, have you been to the Guggleton Farm Arts Thursday music night? You could sit and paint the acts.
Yeah, I ought to give that a go. But I don't think I'm going to see the people I want to paint there. No offence. It is the sort of place that would let me play, which is a nice thing, but it's also, yeah. But I do go to sort of jam sessions and stuff all the time, and draw musicians. So I'll always take my sketchbook. So a lot of people know me for it. So that is exactly the kind of place that would get the sketchbook treatment.
So with this sort of event or the exhibition that you want to do, is there a particular style that you want to do these acts?
Well, yeah, I have done. In fact, you can see on my socials and stuff where I've done it before, where I've really actually kind of cut loose. I'm trying to paint the music as well as the what it looks like. I'm also trying to paint what it feels like to have that room full of music, and yeah, it's an interesting thing because the music does sort of fill the room. So I've called it a kind of voluntary synesthesia, and I think that's a pretty good description of it. It's sort of trying to get in touch with what the music looks like, and when I really cut loose, I think I make some quite interesting things. At the same time, I mean, sometimes an experiment like that can fail horribly, but I want to have that freedom as well. I want to be able to try something,
But would it not be worth it, just sort of thinking out loud, to do an exhibition at a music venue when a gig is going on?
Well, that's a bit cross purposes. That's the problem. People are there. So what you don't want to do is to make it all about you. It's someone else's show. So I'm always a bit concerned about not wanting to be too visible. So there's places that have had me, that are very happy to have me and very supportive, and will give me a sort of they'll parade me in front of the group to a certain extent, and people like to see it going on. But they're also, the people are also there to hear the music that musicians have come to play, and the musicians are good enough to. There's no way I could kind of steal their thunder, as it were. So yeah, I want to be able to be a bit background, which is why the idea of setting it up myself. Obviously, I wouldn't put myself front and center if I were sorting my own gig out. What I'd do is I'd arrange it in such a way that I had a really good vantage point without being visible by everybody. And yeah, well, there's a bottle anyway. And get some of that yellow in afterwards. Yeah, so that was one idea, and I will figure out a way to do it one way or another. Other things, there were other things. Oh, I've got quite a few ideas of stuff I'd like to do, which isn't really about me at all. But creating a platform for artists and to talk about their work and to archive the processes and workings of artists in the West Country, especially because obviously they're available, visible, and I think there's even on our own doorstep there are people who sort of claim to be celebrating the arts, but don't take people on their own doorstep seriously because they're not from London or something. And actually, more and more these days, there's a lot of artists have been finding their way to this part of the world because they're they need to be able to do their work, and it's actually ideal for it. They can work without with the opportunity to sort of fail a bit, or without having to be really conspicuous or constantly sort of keeping up appearances or giving into that pressure that being in a city will bring, and also the cost of living in a city, especially London. It'd be a miracle if you could make any artwork. So the only people, this goes all the way back through history, really, the only people who could really afford to do it are people who've got independent means. Which is why, if you look through a lot of art history, a good proportion of the people doing it were people who were doing it to their credit, in spite of the fact that they could have just sat on their backsides and done nothing. That idea of the poor starving artist. Even Van Gogh had his brother bailing him out the whole time. Anyone who does it is pretty lucky to be able to do it, but it's no longer just things like Bloomsbury groups and things like that these days. There's something else going on, and people are finding a way to make artwork because they want to and they have to, and also they've had the opportunity to spend some time taking it seriously and hopefully getting good at it. The next thing is to try and celebrate that, give that a platform. So that's one of the things I'd like to try and do. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I think a lot of people are doing this. So it might sound a bit idealistic, but hey, got to be a bit idealistic now and again. There you are. Let's get some of that yellow in. You see the difference that makes. Dash in here. Yes, so I don't have time to do all the things I want to do. That's the problem I have. And I have almost no way of predicting just how long any of it would take. So I've rather got into the habit of just deciding to do something and dropping myself in it, so there's no longer any choice, and I just have to get on with it and see it through. Yeah, so hopefully we're seeing that change in colour around here, and the job it does. What's this? I borrow a little bit of that yellow. I've sort of wrecked that now. Should have done it separately. Put a little bit of that green in there. I think I've got to be a bit looser about this. These glasses. Get some of this orange up. It's too much. Ooh. All right for a minute.
We are at 15 minutes to go.
Okay, nearly there, really. There's a little flash of red there. That's not bright enough.
There's that pizza.
That.
I can request a slightly less squeaky jet.
Just try and sit still.
Yeah, sorry, forgot. Totally my fault.
I'll see what I can do. Well, I think I'd feel it pretty quickly if I didn't have a good posture when I paint.
Yeah.
It's sort of necessary. Although my shoulders do tense up, and I shouldn't let that happen.
No, Rich, you're not punching, they're not sleeping either.
No, good. It's nice to know someone's keeping an eye on.
Sorry.
No, I do genuinely appreciate it.
Emma's just messaged, just I think tuned in at your documenting artists' ideas. And so the wonderful idea, good to be an idealist sometimes.
Yeah, you need a little bit. Thank you for the support. Yes, yeah, idealism always comes first. Pragmatism comes later. If you start with pragmatism, you're going to live in a very dreary, dull world. If all you do is have fanciful dreams, then you'll probably be even worse. But oh yeah, that blue works. That'll break apart a bit. Got this violet. I'm going to put that here. I'm going to put some of this light on it.
Maybe you should do like a one-off session once a month where you get one of your audience members to paint something that you try and instruct and see how it goes.
But
You made it look very easy.
well, anyone's welcome to paint along. I hope some people do paint along. I'm sure some people do and never tell me. But
it makes me want to paint, but then it would look nothing like that.
well, what I'm trying to do most of all is talk through the decision process, because it's the decision process that takes care of this stuff.
Well, I think that every week that I'm sitting here, so it'd be great to pull out an easel and sit and paint at the same time.
I'd get bored each week if it just go wrong. More relaxing to watch it. Try and do it.
I hope so.
Yes.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong too. Okay, so when I finally get to the sort of straw effect here, especially softening some of those edges, a bit of this in here. There we go. Some of that yellow in. And then actually a few little dashes of light flashing through here. Oh. I'm going to do a countdown.
9 minutes.
9 minutes. Yeah, let's track what brush it was on. There we are. Is that the right one? No.
Oops.
Right, do it all the same. Okay, probably overworked that now.
Just kind of that hashing that you're trying to do on the hat, doing the same thing as what we talked about in other weeks, which is the making your mind see something in a bigger concept.
Yeah, well, it's just there's certain triggers that will make your brain decide what it's seeing, and you start to figure out what they are. You can use them. So a very good example of that is camouflage, and that's sort of unseeing, because the brain looks for edges. So that's one of the very useful tools if you're getting into painting. You want to learn to paint, and you want to learn to depict something, truthfully. Then you want to put in every edge. That's the urge. But actually, the brain doesn't need every edge. It just needs enough edges, and then it'll fill in the gaps. So if you were looking, off in the distance for a predator, and you saw half a lion, you wouldn't go, "Oh, it's all right. It's only half a lion. Fine." You'd presume there's another half that you can't see, and that there's a whole lion there, and lion. Everyone be careful. And so it's that's sort of how we're made. Okay, is that enough with the hat? I don't want to overdo the hat. I like the green shadow, leaving that. I know what I need. Need more yellow in the foreground. This lovely green here. I'm going to use a bit of lemon yellow just to really sharpen it up. Oh, naughty! Look at that. I can really create this. I can harden up that edge now there. Put a bit of extra brightness in here. Put a little bit back there. So either side of that bottom. Really make that jump out. Underneath here, a little dash in there. Break up a bit over here. Dash a bit of light in there, a bit of light in there. Now, one of the last things I'll do, a very small brush for this. Just going to go for bright highlights, which is I actually mixed right near the beginning. Haven't touched it. There's a highlight on the bottle across there. Actually, get a bit thicker at the middle. There we are.
So 5 minutes now.
Specular highlight there. One of the glasses here. That's too much. Okay, let's go back to this blue. Let's drag a few lights across here. So it's going to do that. Back to that.
That last stroke is like contender for best stroke of the evening. I like that one at the top of the
top of the glasses.
Top of the glasses, yeah.
Yeah. What else are we gonna need? I thought it was funny too. Kind of did though, didn't you? Okay, so a bit of extra yellow here. No, it's still not enough. A bit more brightness into this here hat. Painting there. Okay, this is where this is going to work. I think it does. Let's go. Are we? Is that it? What have I missed or forgotten? Let's mix blue in there. Get a few dynamic white marks just pointing inwards. This whole sort of triangle thing sitting in here. It's that nice gap. Let's make a muddy version of this and just put that around the end. I'm not entirely sure I'm happy with those glasses. I think it's the shape. I think that's going to happen, but I think I can. Pull that down there like that. Straighten that out, and then yep. This little corner there. Make more of that. Okay, now I am fiddling, aren't I?
You are stop.
Ping. They are on the bongs.
Which one is it? We had this discussion last week. Is it the first bong which represents the
actual time.
the actual time of it being like 9 o'clock, or is it the last one?
It's the last one on Mondays. The rest of the time it's the first.
Josie's just messaged. Great painting, holiday mood now.
Yes, good. I hope so. I hope you're feeling better. And yeah, getting that holiday spirit. That's it, isn't it?
It is. I don't know.
Yeah.
John Singer
Put
Sargent
down the paintbrushes.
said every man, every painter should have a man stood behind them with a stick to beat them when the painting's finished. I've had volunteers, but
Yes, Maestro.
not taking anyone up on it yet.
Your phone's just on the side there.
Oh, thank you.
Phone cam.
Yeah, it was Matt that volunteered, and I don't fancy beating him. You won't be able to finish the painting, I think. It'll take you out of one. Let's wake up in hospital. Did it look good?
Jesse said, thanks, yes. Must be feeling better. She managed to get over to you on the Tuesday morning.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah.
No, not on the Tuesday morning. But yeah, she made it to the Sherborne Open and everything. Hey! Ta-da is what I usually write when I haven't done it for a while. I've been so busy. But I'm going to start. Sister, everybody. I'm going to start time coding for videos again. And this is always labelled ta-da. Yeah, it's a bit much that. That's better. Yeah. So the sunblock is facing the hat. It's like they're having a chat. And the sunglasses just being cool.
That's sunglasses, dude.
Yeah.
Right. You got your phone. Cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining me. And keep your eyes open because we will be doing some other things. So the onus isn't on me to be entertaining all the time. More interesting people in here while I paint. In fact, I'm going to be more and more redundant. Eventually they'll go, yeah, you know that really interesting interview program you do on YouTube. Didn't there used to be like painting there for something? What was that all about? So yeah, evolution. In the meantime, enjoy the warm weather.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us.